Have you ever made pulled pork before? If you have, or if you haven't, there's something else you can make in a similar style, and that's pulled chicken. And today, I'm going to be making a Carolina style pulled chicken that we're going to be turning into sandwiches with some amazing Eastern North Carolina barbecue sauce. So I've got 2 chickens here, each one about 6 pounds, and we're going to be spatchcocking these. If you don't know what spatchcocking is, basically we're going to take out the spine and flatten these chickens out. Having them lay flat on the cooking grate in the smoker will allow a lot of that smoke to circulate all around the chicken, not just sort of trying to get into the cavity. So first thing we got to do is we've got to remove the spine and flatten these out. So let's turn our chickens over here. So I'm going to be working on this guy first here, and what you got to do is you just got to find the spine, runs right up and down the backside just like in your back. A good pair of kitchen scissors, bone scissors, makes this a lot easier. You can do it with a knife, but I prefer to use the scissors. So we're just going to get to one side of that. Watch your fingers and thumbs. You're just going to start cutting up one side. Some of the ribs can be pretty tough. Now we have it separated, and technically you can just do it like this and lay it out with the spine still attached. I prefer to remove the spine since we're not going to be using it anyway. So now we just come up on the other side of the spine, watching your fingers and thumbs again. And cut up along it, all the way to the end. And there we have it. We removed the spine. Let's get our other chicken done, then we'll turn these over and flatten them out. Again, just cut up the one side of the spine, then up the other. Get that spine out of there, discard it. Now, if you want to save it and use it for making stock, you can. Perfectly fine. I've done that before. Now we're going to turn our chickens back over. One thing you can do to help them lay a little flatter is you want to press down on this breastbone until you hear it crack. Just like that. It helps break that sternum and allows them to lay a little flatter when you put them on the cooking grate. Now we're going to be hitting this with some rub. Now a couple things to point out. We're leaving the skin on because when I smoke chicken, I like to leave the skin on even if it's coming off later. And at the end of this cooking process, we're going to remove all the skin from this and pull the meat. The skin's not going to play any part in the final product. But I've found when you're smoking the chicken, leaving the skin on does help keep it moist through that process. We're still going to add some seasoning on here on both sides. Even if we're ripping the skin off, some of that seasoning is still going to get to the meat and it's still going to help flavor it. Our main seasoning is going to be that Eastern North Carolina barbecue sauce at the end though. First thing I'm going to hit these chickens with is a little bit of Desert Gold seasoning. Turn them over, get the inside. We're also going to hit them with a little bit of Penzeys Northwoods Fire Seasoning. Get them back over. Just give it a quick little rub there to spread any of that seasoning around. This is just to help add a little bit of flavor during the smoking process. Add a little bit more of this Desert Gold. Our chickens are ready for the smoker. Let's get them out there. All right, the Char-Broil Electric is just about up to temp. I'm going to be doing these chickens at about 250 degrees today with some apple wood. You could do this in the kettle, you can do it at an offset, you can do it any smoker you have. I'm just using to do it today because, hey, I wanted to pull out the electric. Haven't used it in a while. So let's get these chickens in there. I'm going to be using the 2 middle racks here. Put one chicken there. Slide that back in. One chicken there. We're going to put our temperature probe in this chicken. I want to get it nice deep in that breast. Slide our rack back in. Looking good. Let's go ahead and close her up. So our smoker temperature dropped after we opened the door and put the chickens in there. It'll get back up there to the 250 range. Our internal temperature of the chicken's showing around 44 degrees. Perfect. Came out of the refrigerator about 15 minutes ago. We're going to be taking the chicken to 165 internal. That'll be fully cooked. Got good smoke coming out of there, that nice applewood smoke. Love that smell. Great with chicken. Our smoker's at 201. We're about 15 minutes in. It's taking a little while to come back up to temp with all that cold chicken in there. And we're at 61 degrees. We're doing good. Bring you back in a while. Okay, we are just over 2 hours in. We got a 237 degree smoker temp and 135 degree internal temp on the chickens. What I like to do at this time is swap positions on the chickens. The bottom one usually is a little bit ahead of the other one in temperature. It's closer to the heat source, so I like to swap them. Looking really nice. So what I'm going to do first is just move this guy down one level temporarily. And then we'll move this chicken to the level that he was on. And then this guy, he shifts up here. Lots of juice. There we go. Got everybody in. Really nice color on these right now. It smells good too. That seasoning is getting into the meat, even with the skin. It's going to really help flavor this with that Eastern North Carolina barbecue sauce. All right, let's close it up. I'm guessing we probably have about a half an hour to go. Okay, we are actually about 4 hours in. It actually took a lot longer. I probed it and it just ended up taking time. Sometimes that's the way it is. I was expecting it to be closer to 3 hours, ended up being 4, but we are at 165 on the internal meat thermometer. So let's probe it with the instant read and make sure. Looking good. Really good smell here. We'll check this top one. That'll tell us 164.8. I think that counts as 165. All right, let's get these off and get them inside. Make some Carolina style pulled chicken. So let's get to pulling the skin off of this. I think I'm gonna have to save some of this skin. My son loves chicken skin like this. Oh, that looks good. Gotta get all the skin off here because we gotta get down to that meat to make our pulled chicken. Beautiful skin on these breasts and thighs and legs. I think if a little, few pieces of skin make it into the pulled chicken, it's not gonna be the end of the world. Probably gonna break these wings off and set those aside. We'll just eat those separately, unless the meat falls off and wants to join the party. Okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and start pulling this and shredding it, just so you can see what I'm doing here. Just pulling this meat off. You can see how tender it is. All this thigh meat. Just coming right off. Separate out your bones. Any large pieces of fat. This is all just from one thigh right here. One thigh and one leg of one chicken. Look at that. Just we'll be breaking it down a little more once we get it into our pan and start adding our sauce. And that sauce, let me tell you about that. That sauce comes from my friend Scott in North Carolina. He makes it himself, and he sent me some. And he's got a YouTube channel called The Real Show Barbecue. I'll put a link to it in the description and up in the corner there. He's got a great channel, does a lot of neat things on there, and he makes his own sauce and he markets it. I think he's selling it locally. I don't think he's doing any sort of online ordering or anything yet, but I'm really excited to use this sauce in here. I haven't tasted it yet, but he assures me it's wonderful, and I really don't have a reason to doubt him. Not with the great stuff he's cooking. All right, let's get into these breasts here and start tearing this meat off. Remember, throw any extra fat out of the way. Look at that. Look at that juice. I mean, this is just so juicy. All right, I'm going to go ahead and keep breaking this down, both these chickens, and I'll bring you back when we're ready to sauce it. So there is our pan of pulled chicken. That is quite a bit from those two birds. Right there, front and center, is my friend Scott's sauce. I'm not super familiar with Eastern North Carolina sauces, but this is a very thin sauce, very vinegary, and I imagine this is going to go great on here, especially when I make the sandwich out of it. It's just going to soak into the bread. It's just going to be so good. So let's go ahead and let's get it on this chicken. I'm just going to do a little pour from this jar. Get a good amount in here, and then we'll mix it up, add more if we need to. It's going to start with a fork, mixing it around. Scott also sent me some, I think it's a sweet Memphis barbecue sauce I'm going to be trying out soon. And I was really eager to try this Eastern North Carolina with pulled chicken, because I'd seen a couple pulled chicken recipes, but I didn't really have a sort of a traditional sauce for that. I could have made one, but he was kind enough just to send that to me. Let's add some more here. I want to get some more of this goodness because it smells amazing. I may end up using this whole jar. That's all right. I want to get lots of flavor in here on all this chicken. We got a lot of chicken. Take a little taste here and just see how we're doing. Oh man. Oh, that's not the official taste test, but oh man, that's good. I'm gonna add a little bit, just a tiny bit more, because I might put some on the sandwich as I do it too. Oh, brother. Scott, I wish I lived local because I would be buying this from you. Man, this is good. All right, we've got a good coating on all this chicken here. Let's go ahead and build maybe 2 sandwiches. So I am just going to use a couple standard plain old store-bought hamburger buns, because this is kind of where you would get this on, from what I understand. Or some bread, just some sandwich bread. But I am going to pile this on here, and if it gets soggy, I don't care. I will lick the plate if it soaks through this bread. I'm going to put a little more sauce right on top. I know it's just going to like soak the bread. I don't care. Look at that. I'm going to put some coleslaw that my wife made last night too. This is a very vinegary coleslaw. Look at that. Let's top these babies. Let's do some tasting. I know I always say I'm so looking forward to tasting this, but this, after that little taste as it was mixing with that sauce, I'm dying to try this. Here we go. Nice, simple pulled chicken sandwich with some coleslaw on top and that Eastern North Carolina barbecue sauce. Let's go for it. Oh, brother. Wow. That sauce permeates every bit of the chicken. The chicken still has some of that flavor from the rub. Oh, wow, this is good. Wow. If Scott ever starts selling this stuff nationally, you guys got to buy it. If you're local to North Carolina, go to his channel, look it up, and see if he's got some. This is outstanding. Man. Yeah, it's soaking right through the bread. Like I said, I don't care. I could toast the bread. I could put something on the bottom if I wanted it to stay together. I want that sauce, and that sauce is soaked into the bread. The coleslaw topping this, really nice addition to that. A little bit of that fresh bite. I just can't stop talking about the chicken. It is so good with that sauce. This is why I love stuff like this. Someone decides to make a sauce. I've made barbecue sauce before. Years ago, we made a whole bunch of it, gave it away as Christmas gifts in jars. It was nothing like this. I'm really dying to try that sweet Memphis now, but I'm going to hold off. But I love that someone has the passion for barbecue, that they really put the time and effort in to make a sauce this good. I doubt this was the first sauce he tried making. I'm betting that he perfected this because, man, this is among the best barbecue sauces I've ever had. Oh, wow. Do you understand now why I made 2 sandwiches? I'm like chowing down these things as I talk to you here. I'm sure there's some applewood flavor in there from the applewood smoke, but honestly, I'm just so focused on that sauce. I'm being honest with you here. He just sent me this sauce to try. There was no quid pro quo, anything like that. Here, I'll send it to you. You tell everybody about it. I said I'd probably use it in a video. I did not expect it to be like this. I expected it to be good. This is awesome sauce. Yeah, so go to Scott's channel, The Real Show Barbecue. Check him out. Maybe you can convince him to give you the recipe. Probably not, but oh. I've only had a few experiences with barbecue sauce like this, that thin, I'm not even sure, it's a vinegar-based sauce, very vinegary. Most of the sauces that I've used or that I've had at restaurants and things like that have been more traditional, and I think like the other sauce that Scott made, that sort of sweet Memphis, the thicker with a tomato base in it. So I don't have a lot of experience of this, but I definitely want to do more with sauces like this. I can only imagine using this on a pulled pork, how awesome it would be. The only reason I used it on chicken was because I did a pulled pork video recently, and I wanted to do a pulled chicken video. The stars aligned, he sent me this sauce, it was like perfect. Oh, this is good. So going back to the actual cooking of the chicken, it took about 4 hours. I was expecting it to take about 3. That's normally about the amount of time chickens have taken when I've done them in the electric smoker at 250. Maybe 3 hours and 15 minutes. This took 4. And as I've said in videos before, the meat tells you when it's done. The determining factor for chicken is temperature. For other things, it's tenderness. So you go by temperature. And I got to tell you, when that was done and I got it in here, and I hope you saw it when I was pulling it on camera, extremely juicy. A lot of flavor in there just from the rub. I was hoping by adding the sauce it was going to get a lot of extra flavor. I had no idea how much flavor from that sauce, but it worked all together. The method of cooking, smoking, and as I said before, you can do this on an offset. You could do it on a kettle grill. You could do it in the electric like I did. Really, it's just that method of smoking, giving it that smoke flavor and giving it that time to develop and cook so it doesn't dry out. Because if you dry this chicken out, especially if you're using chicken breasts, which I understand is the more traditional thing you'd use if you're making a Carolina pulled chicken sandwich. I wanted to use the whole part of the chicken, the thighs, the dark meat, everything, and honestly, it paid off. I'm just about done with sandwich number 2, and I'm kind of sad that this is almost over. I wish this was a 40-minute video and I had about 8 of these in front of me, but that wouldn't be fair to the rest of the family who's going to want some of this. All I can say is try this. Smoke some chicken, pull it, get a good Eastern North Carolina barbecue sauce, that thin vinegary sauce. You could definitely use another sort of sauce, even a more traditional, tomato-based barbecue sauce. But this really, really, really is good. Holy moly, that's good. Scott, that's awesome sauce. I hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to check out some of the other videos on my channel and consider subscribing. And if you do, click that bell for notifications. Thank you all for watching. I hope you have a great day. I'll see you again soon.